Declan Rice, a former schoolboy here at Chelsea, who was released at the age of 14. Now as a 27-year-old today, he gets this first leg of the semi-final underway. Arsenal, who've had too many failings in semi-finals of late, looking to get off on a strong footing here, with Saka getting in early and giving Robert Sanchez his first touch.
Yeah, Gyökeres getting involved, didn't touch it, but backed into his man and allowed the ball to run into Saka's path. But that league game here before Christmas, it was noticeable from the off how physical Chelsea were, and I think that caught Arsenal by surprise. Yeah, they overstepped the mark, Caicedo did, getting centre-half, but every man was pumped up in blue that day. And you have to feel that need to be like that again here against a very strong Arsenal team.
It was a good point for them, bearing in mind the sending off of Caicedo, which occurred 38 minutes into the game. They actually took the lead after that through Chalobah. Enzo Fernandez, captain for the evening, over this free kick. Mark Guiu, at the moment, standing in an offside position. Coming back as the kick is taken. Esteban started on the left for Chelsea, with Neto on the opposite side. They are interchangeable, of course.
Yeah, I think Neto prefers it on the right, and the senior man has perhaps got his way. Esteban, normally when I've seen him, he has been on the right.
As Marc Cucurella is just back from suspension himself. And it is a problem that Liam Rossini will have to address, their disciplinary issues. 7 red cards already during the course of this campaign.
Well, we'll talk about Arsenal's corners. Chelsea aren't too bad at them themselves.
Yeah, they scored from one against Arsenal. Chalobah is in there for this. That was at the end of November. So in the 3rd minute, Enzo Fernandez lifts his corner, tries to get it on top of Arisa Balaga, but just misjudges it into the side netting.
Yeah, he had a couple of those actually at Fulham, where he's nearly caught the keeper out, trying to put it right under the crossbar.
Arisa Balaga, twice a finalist in this competition with Chelsea, missed a penalty in the shootout of the most recent one, and of course had that famed rejection of a planned Maurizio Sarri substitution in the other, which they eventually lost on penalties to Manchester City.
Yeah, never quite seen anything like that when he refused to come off. Amazing scenes.
Matured now, and very much the trusted goalkeeper in this competition for Arsenal. He's played in every round. Gets it back here from Saliba. 2 jeers for him on his return here. I'm sure that's something that would have been entirely unexpected on his part. Gabriel looking for Victor Gyökeres. He needs a big goal in a big game. Slotted through by Andre Santos and turned back by Jurrien Timber, who is chosen at left back ahead of Miles Lewis-Skelly, who's on the bench tonight for Arsenal, knowing Capier he's injured.
And it's a blow for Lewis-Skelly. He's got 2 ahead of him now for that left-back slot. You wonder whether his future does indeed lie at Arsenal.
And Sanchez has kept clean sheets in his last 2 League Cup appearances, but none in over a couple of years until tonight. There's Santos. Fofana. Guiu involved in a tussle with Gabriel, and giving as good as he gets there.
Yeah, he's got a real physical tussle on his hands, Gabriel, such a strong defender. Saliba slightly different. He'll nick in front of you sometimes. Guiu's got to be at it, got to be alive.
Here's Ben White. Saliba, who was arrested at the weekend. Arteta did raise the spectre yesterday that he might have been a doubt for tonight's game. Given away to Trossard by Achiampong. Rice lining up as if to curl one in. Instead goes back to Martin Zubamendi. The corner's given, even though Chalobah might have thought he played it against him, but he's actually hurt himself in the process.
I think all opponents would be trying to avoid giving away corners to Arsenal. Chalobah was trying to do just that. Just on the follow-through, Timber catching him.
Well, Chelsea may be good from corners, but Arsenal are even better, especially when this man is over them. Rice with the kick. And it's a clear header for Ben White. And the player who scored his last 2 goals against Chelsea way back in April 2024 gets off the mark here and gives Arsenal an early advantage in the semi-final.
But that's just incredible, isn't it? How easy was that for Ben White? They didn't have to do anything particularly special here, Arsenal. Yeah, the ball was delivered well, but Sanchez just gets blocked out, quite possibly by his own players here, and waves a hand at it, and really gets nowhere near. I don't think Ben White was expecting it, but it's an instinctive duck of the head, and I don't think he can believe it ends up in the back of the net. Such a soft goal from Chelsea's point of view. Incredible. When you look at Arsenal, how do we cope with these set pieces, these corners particularly? You'll have a plan, but Chelsea's plan's falling apart now.
Well, VAR got involved controversially for a length of time last night. They've checked that one for a possible offside against Gyökeres, but have quickly decided that White's goal does stand. It was Gyökeres who was standing in an offside position potentially, but whether he was interfering would have been the question, and that didn't appear to be the case.
Well, thank Lord we haven't got another 6 or 7 minutes. I think he was standing in front of Gaio on the line.
So Ben White has his first goal of the season, his first since a double in a 5-0 win against Chelsea back in April 2024. What a start for Arsenal, who hadn't scored in their last 4 matches in League Cup semi-finals. They've been beaten in their last 2 under Mikel Arteta by Liverpool, and then last season by Newcastle, and didn't score in any of those games, but they've laid down an early marker here.
They just don't lose when they go ahead this season.
There's the evidence.
It's a test for this Chelsea team now, this sub-strength Chelsea team. As we know, it's a young side. Their home form has been underwhelming this season. They're getting pressed high here.
And Zubamendi has won it back. Rice slots it through. Trossard may have been offside anyway.
Well, clearly Arsenal have made it their mission to prevent Chelsea from passing it around at the back. Really pushing up high.
They nearly lost it again then to Declan Rice, but Santos managed to hold on. But Arsenal have worked that Chelsea backline already. That's the one thing you know you've got to guard against Arsenal from corners, and the simplicity of the goal they've conceded will cause consternation really amongst the Chelsea coaching staff.
Your keeper plays a big part, and of course your defenders do too. They're all marking zonally, but nobody attacked that zone. Ben White was stood in.
Here's Enzo Fernandez. This is Trevor Chalobah. Achiampo. Estevao. This is Fofana. Touched back by João Pedro. Through the middle with the goalkeeper this time, and Estevao looking to find a pathway through. But no encouragement offered. Back by White, the goal scorer. Surprise goal scorer, you have to say, in recent form.
Well, it's not been an easy time for Ben White, who's had injuries, but he's also lost his place. Automatic one at right back.
Chelsea have picked it up here with Enzo Fernandez going for goal, but it's straight at Arrizabalaga.
Just difficult to get an angle on that shot.
Timber has run it out. Fernandez wearing the captain's armband tonight. Reece James amongst those who's sidelined. An insurance policy, the second leg to come up in just short of 3 weeks' time, but Chelsea can't be taking too many liberties with that.
Yeah, they haven't had a chance really to get playing yet. They've looked vulnerable in these positions. Crowd are getting jittery.
High press from Arsenal has made them jittery. Guiu. Swept forward by Fernandez. Right idea, because Achiampong had found some space. Neto on the stretch, drives it against Saliba. With Chalobah. Fernandez. Pedro keeping it alive for Enzo Fernandez. Here's Achiampong. Estevao. Fernandez got away from him and is cleared by Bukayo Saka.
Decent response by Chelsea. Coming back at Arsenal would have been a shock to the system, conceding that early goal.
Opportunity for them perhaps to just steady themselves. Here's Wesley Fofana. Chalobah, Trossard in pursuit. Chalobah standing his ground, and forced into the area to give it away to Jurrien Timber, who gets it back from Gyökeres. Now Rice. And Saliba. Gabriel, who scored Arsenal's last winner here 3 years ago. Been very successful at this ground. Mikel Arteta has never lost on any of his visits as Arsenal manager. Here's Saliba. Cucurella getting tight to Bukayo Saka. That was an eagerly awaited contest. Zubimendi, Gyökeres is free if he can find him. It was a little behind him. He's drawn it in anyway. And gets his shot away, which does get a little nick and earns Arsenal another corner.
They did well there, Gyökeres. Kept hold of it, took responsibility and engineered half a yard to get his shot away. Could have passed it back. And Imagine how low confidence is at the moment. He's just got to keep going, keep trying to get away his shots on goal.
Saka overseeing things from this side, and the scorer of Arsenal's goal already, Ben White, is amongst the overload at the back end. Plenty of others for Chelsea to be fearful of as well. Saka sends in his kick, hands on it, but not too convincingly from Robert Sanchez, although he may have been fouled.
Well, you're going to expect physical contact, but he looks a bag of nerves there. He looks vulnerable. There's an arm on his shoulder, but you've just got to be strong.
His position was constantly coming into question last season, widely judged to have had a better year during this campaign, Robert Sanchez, despite the sending off he got at Old Trafford earlier in the campaign. But he looks very unsettled here. Here's Achiampong. Here's Cucurella. Arsenal fans being taunted by their Chelsea counterparts about their lack of success in Europe, but it's all about this trophy at the moment, and Arsenal edging it.
And Chelsea can't find a way to pass out from the back. It's breaking down continually.
Here's Leandro Trossard. This is Timber. Rice. William Saliba. Now White. Perez has made the run and finds Bukayo Saka. Odegaard.
There's some ominous signs for Chelsea. Arsenal starting to enjoy it, knocking the ball about in the home team's half.
Switch of play from Saliba. Neither Timber nor Trossard could keep it in.
Well, they had a brief look at it, VAR. Look at Gyökeres just on the line. Is he restricting Gayu? Gayu's got hold of Gyökeres as much as anything, but we had this discussion at St James's Park, but the goal stands. That's the important thing.
Maybe a concern for him is that Gayu wasn't even facing up to the ball. He had eyes only for Gyökeres.
So many people do defend like that these days. The ball is inconsequential. Sometimes it's all about holding onto your man.
Gayu facing his own goal, and that's where the ball ended up, in the back of his net. This occasion. Arsenal set them on their way here with João Pedro. Pedro's cross, it's beyond the reach of Pedro Neto.
Well, they've got plenty of blue shirts forward, but just a bit too much on it. Sometimes you need a bit of stardust, particularly if you're playing against Arsenal. And Chelsea's not fit. James, of course, so important to the side. Pure class when he gets on the ball.
We've got 5 games to play before the second leg, so the hope for Chelsea has to be that come the end of the game, whatever the scoreline is, it will be retrievable.
And I know Caicedo dives in too often, but I do think 2 bookings and you're suspended is a bit harsh in this competition.
Yeah, 2 bookings in 2 games. Those bookings from previous rounds have now been wiped, so they have no bearing on the semi-final.
He's so important to the team in the middle of that park, Caicedo.
This is challenge on Marino that led to him being sent off in the league game between these two 45 days ago. Marino it was who scored the equaliser. Here's Enzo Fernandez. And there's Santos to Chalabar. Here's Achiampong. Must have wanted it played earlier. So he's been forced into a lengthy retreat. Santos. Now Cucurella. Neto finding a way beyond Saka and Ben White. And that's cleared by Declan Rice.
That's brilliant play by Pedro Neto, who's been one of Chelsea's most consistent performers.
Fafana, Cucurella. Enzo Fernandez. This is Esteval. Enzo Fernandez tried to square it to João Pedro, but it was slightly offline. And Saka looking to set Gyökeres away. Chalabar staying in control of that situation for now.
Quite got the pace to get away from defenders, Gyökeres, in those situations, but he's a hard worker and he did well there.
Here's Odegaard. Declan Rice. Fafana. Gabriel. Trossard finding a route through to Odegaard, who was taken down by Enzo Fernandez, who questions the decision.
Taking the man before maybe getting a slight touch on the ball.
Simon Hooper, the referee, was in no doubt. He's measured out there 10 yards from the free kick. And Rice, having already helped to produce 1 goal from a dead ball situation, is contemplating his options here. Gabriel often takes the lead in organising these kind of things. Certainly letting Rice know where he's heading.
He's the leader on that pitch. Gabriel doesn't wear the armband, but he's always at the heart of things.
Rice has stepped away from the kick. It's Odegaard who takes, cleared by Chalabar, but Mendy lashes it over.
An easy one, quite high, had to get up and over it. He's come good with a few goals for his team. The signing of the summer for Arsenal, no doubt.
To score away from home, Martin Zubimendi. Goal kicks have to be retaken. Fafana back to his goalkeeper. Pedro is fouled.
Yeah, it's like tug on the shirt, but they are finding it difficult to work the way out from the back.
It's a poor record that Arsenal have in this competition, one that Mikel Arteta will be looking to change. Just twice they've won it, both under George Graham in 1987 and 1993. Chelsea have won it 4 times since Arsenal last did. Pressure here from Odegaard, but Enzo Fernandez resists that.
Certainly this contest, a different dynamic from the league match.
Esteban slotted it through. It's Achiampong who's through for Chelsea, and he was offside anyway.
He's a talented boy, Achiampong, but maybe it fell to the wrong person. Maybe Esteban in that position. Esteban who delivered the pass. He's been one of Chelsea's brightest players, the young Brazilian, early on here. It was going to be hard to beat the keeper from there. But he's a real talent.
Esteban did score in his last appearance in this competition in the 4th round victory at Wolves. Actually, Liam Rossini's first home game in charge has coincided with Chelsea's first home game in the competition this season. Having come through at Lincoln, at Wolves and at Cardiff in the quarterfinals. All 3 of their goals in the last round were scored by substitutes. Garnacho and Neto coming off the bench to make the difference in Wales. There's Fofana, Cucurella. Pedro's managed to shake off Zubimendi. Guiu. Andre Santos. Enzo Fernandez. And Pedro's managed to free himself. It was a really inviting ball he played across, but no takers.
Well, it's a nice bit of football from Chelsea, their best yet, really, in a dangerous area. What a lovely little pass that is. I think it was Pedro Neto into João Pedro. He's just dragged his shot. He's going for goal, but he's hoping, expecting somebody to be at that far post.
Chelsea forward line there, we're all hanging back, so no one there to take advantage. Here's Gabriel. There goes Trossard. Saka, Odegaard's made a good run, but he couldn't get it out to him quickly enough. White, now Odegaard, in towards Gyökeres, but it's Chalobah who meets it. Gabriel. Away by Esteban. There's Leandro Trossard. Sliding challenge from which Trossard emerges unscathed, and he gets it back from Timber. Trossard. A really promising move, which ends with another Arsenal corner.
Last-ditch defending here from the Chelsea boys. Esteban doing his defensive work, it's always funneling back, but the move continues, and at this point he cuts inside and the danger signals are there.
Can Chelsea put their jitters behind them, because that's what we've seen every time Arsenal have lined up a corner so far. White scored from one, and it was taken from this side by this taker, Declan Rice. And he does handle that one safely, Sanchez.
Should do him a little bit of good.
Cucurella. Fernandez. Through the middle to Mark Guiu. It's Pedro. Spread wide by Fernandez. And Esteban goes for it from the angle, ambitious, but certainly worked. There is the Balaga.
They've continually tried to get the ball out onto this right-hand side. That's where the biggest threats come from for Chelsea. He catches this well, the teenager.
Who shows no fear. The corner goes in. Goalkeeper does get to it. Cucurella waiting for the bounce, has to head it through in the end. And there was a foul in there from Gabriel. So Liam Rossini's team have settled themselves after the early shock of that 7th-minute goal, conceded almost inevitably from a corner.
And they've held their own, no question of that. This team have had to do a fair bit of defending.
Pretty much the toughest assignment that Rossini could have had in his first home match in charge. And it has proved difficult so far. Not beyond rescue. Nicholas has moved the ball from the position where the throw-in was to have been taken. But he's just turned a blind eye to that. Mark Guiu held it up well for João Pedro.
Again, plenty of space on the right flank for Esteban.
Here's Zubamendi. Rice. This is Gabriel. Rice. Cucurella. Odegaard was alert. Santos screened it from Trossard, but it fell to Declan Rice anyway. And here's Odegaard. Timber. Zubamendi squaring it to Leandro Trossard. He gets it back from Rice and hits it.
Timber in a bit of space to Trossard's left. Chance to have a pop there, but Zubamendi passes it up. It's been a familiar story for Arsenal centre forward. Hasn't had too many touches. It's looked like hard work. It's felt like it. I mean, talking of hard work, he has put in a shift so far. He's trying to engage those central defenders. He needs something to go at in the box.
In there again. Guiu losing out to Saliba. Guiu, the beneficiary of a rule change this season, which means you are allowed to play for more than one club in this competition. He started it scoring actually for Sunderland when they made their exit.
He's asking a lot of Guiu tonight, no question. Against those two centre-halves, against that defence in general.
10 minutes to half-time, and Arsenal with a narrow lead. Declan Rice helped to produce it. And here's the man who gave them that lead, Ben White. Saliba. Odegaard. Gabriel. This is Esteval. Always feels something might happen when he's on the ball. And he's made good progress here. Rice trying to isolate him. But he's not to be deterred. Trossard closest to him now. Thinks that was worth a corner, but he's not getting one.
He does show a lot of maturity the way he takes responsibility. He's been Chelsea's best player in this first half. He's trying to get his team going, drag them forward.
Saliba. It's Gabriel, who's given it away. Esteval unable to take advantage of the mistake. Zubamendi furthest forward here for Arsenal. Saka coming through too.
I wonder how he ended up being the highest Arsenal player now. Usual corner for Arsenal, the last one in that Sanchez had a free punch on it, or catch on it, without any challenge. Doesn't often happen.
And Gabriel scored his last winner for Arsenal at this ground. That came from a corner two taken by Bukayo Saka, which he eventually finished off. Another Declan Rice corner kick. His finest, cleared by Chalobah. Zubamendi. Here's Odegaard. Bucharest showing for it. Plenty of Premier League action to come for you this weekend, starting early with the Manchester derby from 11 o'clock on Sky Sports Premier League. And on Sunday, Wolves take on Newcastle from 1 o'clock. Later on, we're still in the West Midlands for Aston Villa against Everton from 4:30. And our Monday night action takes us to the South Coast for Brighton against Bournemouth, with Monday night football starting at 6:30.
Again, Chelsea making a mess of their attempts to play out from the back. Santos slipping in possession.
Well, Arsenal have been consulting with a throw-in expert as part of their latest attempt to make the most of marginal gains. Thomas Gronemark has been advising them. Declan Rice slings this one in. Zubamendi gets it forward. Eventually ends up back with Rice. Saliba! Oh, tried to curl one, ends up on the roof of the net.
Well, he couldn't resist it in the end. He was invited to shoot. See the blue shirts just back off here, give him a bit of space. Found the net from those positions before.
Here's Saka. Fell a bit short for Odegaard, but good enough. Pedro looking for help. White keeping him locked in. Ziganemi in the tussle with Pedro Neto. And Chelsea man gets the free kick. Achampa. Here's Wesley Fofana.
Of Enzo Maresca's playing about at the back, which a lot of Chelsea fans were nervous about. Nothing's changed.
A bit early, I suppose, for things to change. This being Rossini's second match in charge, and there's always going to be an altogether more difficult one than their comprehensive FA Cup victory at the Valley at the weekend. Here's Fofana. And they're getting themselves into a spot of bother, so Sanchez in the end has to go longer, finds Esteval. And Achampa is pulled back by Trossard, which is... Oh! A yellow card is shown to Trossard, but I think Esteval may have had something to say that got himself into trouble as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of players, maybe the foreign ones, aren't so aware of this law in terms of getting a yellow card for waving that imaginary card. That was always going to be a booking, given that he brought him down, he was wrong side.
It's just a thing that's frowned upon. Fernandez with a kick. Esteval. Neto tries to place it in towards Guiu. Too many bodies in the way though. Cucurella. You can leave that. Here's White. Saka taken down by Marc Cucurella, and he's shown a yellow card.
Not too many of those battles, Saka v Cucurella. Certainly, Saka got his boot to the ball first.
That yellow cards have been wiped out. He's been booked in both of the previous rounds he's played in this competition. He's only just back from the red that he got at Fulham in the Premier League. Sweeping in his kick, clear to Odegaard. There's Bukayo Saka. Driven against Cucurella.
Time for concentration now, just before half-time for Chelsea. Cannot afford to be conceding a second here.
Amongst those hopeful of making something of this, so close to the interval. Cucurella trying to keep Saliba under some measure of control. Saka gets his kick in. And someone who can have his eyes on something. from which he's awarded Chelsea a free kick that relieves the pressure anyway.
Well,
one additional minute.
Chelsea haven't played badly. They've held their own in open play against Arsenal. It's just that concession of the early goal from the corner that makes it feel a bit worse. But his team have done okay.
Chalobah, Cooker out. His first time by Saliba, but not the second. Put it back by Fofana. Trossard tried to help it on to Saka. So, first half lead for Arsenal, and things seem to happen when Ben White plays against Chelsea. He scored his last goals against them, his latest is a significant one, his first in the League Cup, and gives them a half-time advantage here. Esteval tried his best for Chelsea with a shot from an angle that was kept out by Kepa Arrizabalaga, but Chelsea with work to do in this semi-final. At half-time, they trail Arsenal by 1-0. But Chelsea have been knocked out at this stage of the competition on every occasion where they've lost the first leg at home. It's happened 3 times to them, most recently in 2013 when they were beaten here by Swansea and couldn't turn it around in the second leg. So they do need something strong in this second half. They've got Q playing up top because Delap is ruled out by illness, and they've chosen to play João Pedro just behind him.
Yeah, and of course what is not working in Liam Senior's favour is the bench. There aren't too many game-changing options, you think, you look at it, as opposed to Arsenal's.
One of the players has got out there, change it for him without needing to turn to the bench. João Pedro was hoping for a free kick there that wasn't forthcoming. Here's Santos. There's Trevor Chalobah. Now Cucurella. Right, trying to seize his moment to get to that. This first 15-minute period of the second half is one that's been particularly fruitful so far for these two.
Good half-time team talks, mainly.
Yeah, senior new to it in Chelsea terms, new to it as well at this stage of the competition. He's never managed in this competition beyond the second round before. Got to the first round with Hull and second round with Derby in his caretaker spell in charge there.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? He's in the big time now, Liam, and he's got to step up. It's all new to him, the scrutiny, the pressure, the expectation, the criticism.
Well, this is their prototype on the pitch. They've gone young, they've gone with somebody who is an exceptional communicator. Here's Enzo Fernandez, now João Pedro. Towards that, and Gabriel decided that he had to take charge, and I think Arrizabalaga appreciated that decision.
Yeah, it's first rule of defending. If in doubt, take charge.
Here's Chalobah. Esteval. Santos. Pedro Neto. Robbed by Bukayo Saka. So trying to get back at him, but Cucurella was the one who got in front of him. Correa chasing back at Saka now. Ben White in support, pulls it right across. Gyökeres! Well, he couldn't miss from that range, but that feels like a big moment for the striker. A goal in a big game.
Well, you can see what it means to him, and maybe most importantly, his teammates. They're delighted for him. It's a poacher's effort, to say the least, this. But Sanchez again doesn't come out of it favourably. But there's a potential offside maybe over on that right-hand side. Saka and Cucurella. No, that's on. He just takes the weight off it, Sanchez. Perfectly into the path of Gyökeres, who will take that all day long, whether from a yard or 18, it doesn't matter. Oh, through two hands. It's like a bar of soap for Sanchez, that one. What a dreadful start to the second half for Chelsea. Brilliant for his team.
It's the first goal that Victor Gyökeres has scored in the League Cup since his first goal in English football for Brighton 5 years ago. Chelsea need something, and need something quickly. Here's Esteval. At the moment, the margin of success for Arsenal the same as it is for Manchester City in the other tie.
Well, given the absentees for Chelsea and given the strength of Arsenal, this always felt like a game beforehand that Chelsea just needed to stay in terms of the two-legged tie. Give themselves a chance at the Emirates.
Here's Achiampong.
Well, there's movement on the bench.
Nacho getting set. But a great moment for Gyökeres. It is his 8th goal of the season. His last one had come from the penalty spot.
I don't think he's ever going to look like a silky, sophisticated forward, but he is a goal scorer and he needs stuff to go at in the box.
Could Chelsea's route back into this game come via the same one that gave Arsenal their first break? Risa Balaga did get to that, but was completely cleaned out.
There's a high boot in there.
It's for Fafana.
It's positive goalkeeping. Like a kung fu kick, that one from Fafana.
The height of the boot is such that he's probably lucky he didn't make greater contact. There'll be a double change here from Chelsea, one an attacking change, the other a defensive one. Garnacho and Badiashile coming on, and Mark Guiu is the first one off, and Josh Achiampong is the second player to be withdrawn. Garnacho came off the bench to score twice in the quarter-final victory against Cardiff, and he's gone out to the left here in Liam Rosenior's reorganisation with João Pedro up through the middle.
Fafana appears to be at right back now. This gives you a little insight into Liam Rosenior's thinking. Maybe he'll act differently to Maresca.
Here's Trossard. Cleared by Chalobah. Brought in by Bukayo Saka. Here's White. So he lets it go. It's Odegaard who strikes it. And that one's gone clear by Robert Sanchez.
Well, Arsenal have got it in them to take this tie away completely from Chelsea.
Odegaard. Here's Saka. Correa was hoping for a free kick for a trip, but a corner's given instead.
It always looked like an intriguing battle, this. Didn't see too much in the first half, but it's hot enough.
He's clearly chancing his arm there. There's delighted Arsenal fans in that corner, enjoying what they are seeing here. As they can take away a lot of the nervousness that might have surrounded the second leg if the margin had been less. Plenty of movement going on in the middle, and Simon Hooper's decided to intervene.
It's Fernandez on Gabriel, the two of them having a good old push and shove.
So after a pause, Saka to take the corner. And he bends it in. Sanchez does get to that one. Rice underneath it with a header. Gyökeres has battled for that one and won another corner out of Santos.
Yeah, the Arsenal fans loving that. Chelsea have just got to try and hang in now. It's going to be a difficult next 10 minutes, the way things are shaping up. They've got to try and gain a foothold again in this game unless it gets away from them completely.
Rice's corner goes long this time. Well, never any question against his work rate. It was the end product that had been lacking for Victor Gyökeres, but Mikel Arteta has stuck with him. In some cases, really, he's had to because of the injury problems suffered by Jesus and Havertz. But now with those two back on the bench, it is looking an altogether stronger Arsenal squad.
Yeah, that might just kick Gyökeres into action.
Here's João Pedro. Neto delivering with a cross, it's all the way through to Garnacho! And Chelsea get a foothold! Off the bench to get them back in it, it's Alejandro Garnacho.
Well, he's just hung out at that far post. It's so easy for a wide player to go in too early, but he doesn't, Garnacho. Pedro Neto does ever so well with the ball in. And look at Garnacho on the far post, just hoping it's going to come his way. First touch is enough to allow him to get the second away. Squirms maybe through the legs of Kepa. But boy, did they need this, Chelsea. The two-legged tie threatening to be ended here at Stamford Bridge by Arsenal, but the Blues well back in it now.
And 4 minutes after Liam Rossini had made the change, Alejandro Garnacho comes up trumps. Saka with a corner. Struck by Odegaard and well wide as it turned out. Chelsea want to get things moving quickly. That was Sanchez's idea in setting Fofana away, but Trossard was wise to that. Here's Fernandez. Cucurella. Here's Garnacho. Badiashile. Couldn't find a way through. Good challenge by Timber. Can Esteban get away this time? Disappoints with the cross.
Well, there's a little bit of spice now to this contest. It's been livened up no end by that Chelsea reply. The fans are on board.
And they're on their feet. Fernandez. Garnacho. Garnacho's made a difference already. That one is cleared by William Saliba. Garnacho scoring only the second goal that Arsenal have conceded in this season's Carabao Cup. They let in one late to Marquet in the previous round, which took it all the way to a penalty shootout. Here's Pedro Neto. Garnacho again. It's Cucurella's cross, met by Gabriel and cleared to safety by Odegaard. Neto. Esteval. Well, Gabriel couldn't be sure and had to head it behind.
Yeah, not sure whether it was going to be on target, but it's a threatening effort. No, it's Chelsea with all the momentum.
And it's Enzo Fernandez with their corner. Wrestling going on in the middle and confusion in front of Kepa Arrizabalaga, but a towering clearance from Gabriel. Fernandez back in towards Badiashile, Rice away, Saka away. Here's Garnacho. Is that a hand? It was.
And Chelsea fans thinking that Saka had handed it first.
Here's Rice.
They'll just be wanting to try and quieten things down in this stadium, the Arsenal players. Take the heat out of it.
Timber. Here's Gyökeres. Trossard. Timber had it nicked away from him. Garnacho. And was foul. Contemplating changes now.
Not short on options. Again, it all looks a bit uncomfortable and nervous coming from his feet.
It's the first game that Sanchez has played for the new manager. Morganson played the FA Cup tie at the weekend. Santos. Here's Fofana. Neto. João Pedro. Santos. Here's Rice. Martin Odegaard trying to pick it up again for Arsenal, but intercepted by Fofana. Here's Gabriel. Rice. This is Trossard. Zubimendi. Gabriel. So just having some success at the moment, and that objective you mentioned, Alan, of just calming things down. Saliba given space to run into. Saliba's found Saka, who is looking for a free kick there and gets it, just as Badia Shield gets a booking.
Yeah, he protected the ball, Saka here. And this is shooting distance.
Changes that Mikel Arteta has up his sleeve. Mikel Merino is going to come on, so too is Gabriel Martinelli. Or will they wait to see how this free kick pans out first? Looks as though they will. Rice's expertise in these situations has been on show for all to see before.
Not just suit a left footer. Odegaard
scored twice in a home victory against Chelsea for Arsenal 3 seasons ago. And Sanchez has had a difficult night in the Chelsea goal. It is Rice. Maybe you're right. Maybe it should have been a left footer. So, making the changes. Leandro Trossard is the first to head off. And Odegaard hands the captain's armband to Bukayo Saka as he also heads for the exit. Gabriel Martinelli, fresh from his hat-trick at Portsmouth, the first of his senior career, comes on for his 250th game for Arsenal. And Mikel Merino has scored in each of Arsenal's last 2 matches against tonight's opponents.
As we approaching the last half an hour, Arsenal have clearly got the advantage in terms of the quality of the substitutions, the ability to keep up the energy levels as well.
Fofana. Badia Shield. Enzo Fernandez. Here's Neto. Here's Santos. It's Garnacho trying to combine with Cucurella. Saka.
Lovely footwork, it really was.
Zubamendi. Timber. There's Saliba. Ross. White. There's Callum McFarlane, who minded the shot between the departure of Enzo Maresca and Liam Rosenior's arrival, and he has been retained on the new manager's backroom staff.
He's got forward so much, Timber, and quite often drifting inside into an almost centre forward position.
On by Estevao. João Pedro looked uncertain, was looking around himself, and was well aware that he would have been offside. Here's Zubamendi. Now Marino. Saka. Marino into the path of Gyökeres. Laid off for Zubamendi to strike! And just when Arsenal's command had been called into question, Zubamendi reinforces their determination to get this job done in 90 minutes rather than over 2 legs.
Yeah, it's a big goal. You can see the disappointment amongst the Chelsea players. He knows it's huge, Arsenal know it's huge. Just as Chelsea were coming back at the visitors, trying to get an equaliser. Gyökeres has got 1 goal. He's got an assist now as well with that little flick. But doesn't Zubamendi just shift the ball well to find himself some space? That's really going to hit hard on those Chelsea players, on the fans as well inside this stadium.
On his first appearance in the competition, Martin Zubamendi comes up with a big goal to, for now, put down the threat of a Chelsea revival. But can Liam Rosenior's team come again? Here's Santos. Estevao. Chalobah. Fernandez. This is Benoit Badiashile. Garnacho. Fernandez. Neto trying to play with a cross to Cucurella, but he has to retreat for it. Cleared by Rice. And Badiashile there ahead of Mikel Merino.
I just feel when Chelsea go to the Emirates for the second leg, they've got to be within 1 goal of Arsenal to give themselves a realistic chance.
Estevao. Done well there to win it back from Timber, and he goes on. Estevao's strike is against the legs of Gabriel. Fofana. Hato. Neto into Esteval, blocked by Rice. And Marino gets the free kick that he wanted.
Chelsea still got a sting in them, Neto and Esteval. Chelsea's probably two most dangerous players, doing the best to haul the side back into this.
And the player coming on is the one who scored the first goal of the new managerial era, and what a goal it was for Jorel Hato. And that's a 5-1 FA Cup win at Charlton. It started every previous League Cup tie, and he's going to come on here in place of Wesley Fofana. So another reshuffle at the back with Chalobah moving to right back.
You wonder whether Fofana, the sports science people have said he can only play so long. It might be one of those decisions.
Which is a big question mark. What was left over the departure of Enzo Maresca as to who really has the say on this kind of thing. Obviously Malaga has just been shown a yellow card for time wasting. Jokeres screened that one from Badiashile, played through by Marino to Jokeres, and Saka came in on it. Chance! Marino is blocked.
Well, this looked like a really good save. It's just all about scrapping for possession here. Ball lands really invitingly, and Sanchez saving it with his foot, does he? Marino catches this as well as he possibly could, and it's the toes of Sanchez keeping it out.
Best moment of what's otherwise been an awkward night for the Chelsea number one. Rice with the corner, White messing things up in the middle again. Saliba joining him in that quest. Gabriel came in round the back and headed it into the ground with such force it went over.
Yeah, just got above it.
Chelsea grab for themselves another lifeline here. Here's Chalobah. Stopped by Gabriel against his own colleague. But Esteban still just a little too far behind to make anything of that. Here's Rice. Now Martinelli. Escapes from Chalobah. Zubamendi pulls it back for Marino. Martinelli, driven against Hato. Taken from behind by Marino has brought him a yellow card.
It's a yellow card all day long, that one.
Dirty game, but we've had 6 yellow cards, just one fewer than in the league meeting between the two, which of course also had a red for Moses Caicedo.
Yeah, and that was a much more physical contest, no doubt.
Saka, Marino lining up a long ranger, fancies carrying on his recent record of scoring against Chelsea, clearly. Badiashile. Garnacho. Gomez had earmarked Esteban to produce something, but the ball was difficult for him to control and he was offside anyway.
He's had some good games, Esteban, but I think given the quality of opposition tonight, it's maybe his best in a Chelsea shirt. Chelsea fans might tell me differently, but I just think he's shown so much maturity tonight.
Double change from Liam Rosenior. The young and the old, if you can call 28 old, which is what Tosin Adarabioyo is, the oldest member of this current Chelsea squad. Is the other sub Chelsea preparing to throw on. Here's Timber. Rice. Zubamendi. Martinelli seeking out Gyökeres. Bundles over. Two changes actually being plotted here by each team. And it looks as though Chelsea's changes are going to happen first. So João Pedro makes way for Mayuka, for whom this is a 7th senior appearance. He's won the previous 6. You would think that's a record that's about to end. Marc Cucurella is the other player coming off to be replaced by Tosin Adarabioyo. And Arsenal making changes too. Declan Rice is coming off, and the jeers are for Kai Havertz, who comes on to replace him, and Gyökeres is the other player coming off as Gabriel Jesus comes on. It's a strange one, isn't it, with Havertz, because the Chelsea fans have been taunting Arsenal all night with cries that they have been European kings, and yet Havertz, the player who made them that last, gets jeered as he comes on here.
There's no logic with football fans.
Neto, and by Santos, in steps Mikel Merino. Nacho. Here's Trevor Chalobah. Esteban. To try and fight off Urian Timber. He's had some success and made some good progress here, Esteban.
Not nearly get the better of Urian Timber. He's having a good go at it though.
So his corner, Garnacho with a hit! He's done it again! A second lifeline offered to Chelsea by the substitute Liam Rosenior, threw on in this second half, and they've got it back to within one.
I tell you what, that was not an easy take for Garnacho. And again, he just holds his position. It's not often Arsenal get done in these set-piece situations, but they have been there. Maybe Garnacho's a little surprised that it does find the back of the net, but he does well to control it. Those players throwing themselves in front, but they can't get a touch. You know, Reza Balaga can't get much of a touch either. But they are checking.
Possibly the pressure that Tosin Adarabioyo had been putting on Kepa Arrizabalaga, who was at the back of that thicket of players when the ball broke to Garnacho and he struck it.
Yeah, I don't think he's done too much wrong there, Adarabioyo. And I wondered if they'd run out of gas, Chelsea, but they haven't. Clawed themselves back into this two-legged tie.
So the goal having been confirmed, Liam Rossini's team are back in the match and certainly back in the tie. Garnacho, who produced a double from the bench in the last round, has done so again in the first leg of the semi-final. Fernandez. Back by Saliba. Marino. It could be on for Fernandez. He's got Estevao up to his right, and he's used him. Estevao! Flag was up anyway.
What a moment that would have been for him. Deserves something from this game, just a little bit over-enthusiastic.
Came up with the goods late on here in the league match against Liverpool, and he's possibly contemplating a repeat act, the young Brazilian. Gabriel Jesus. There's White. Driven against Fernandez. Zubamendi. Timber. It was difficult to provide from the cross.
Well, is there another goal in this contest? I wonder. It's been a brilliant second half to watch. Both teams going at it full throttle.
Zubamendi. Havertz. It's Zubamendi's cross. Clearing headers by Trevor Chalobah. Chelsea pinning their hopes on Estevao providing something. He provided this ball for Pedro Neto. And he's won a corner out of Gabriel. And the home fans are sensing a sea change here, and Gabriel might be a bit worried that that's about to happen.
He's a warrior, that boy, isn't he?
Neto delivers with the kick, right in towards Adarabioyo.
Reza Balaga here wasn't strong enough. The way that Sanchez wasn't in the first half. It's a teasing ball in. And that's a chance for Adarabioyo.
Arsenal, I'm sure, would love to waste plenty of seconds here, but Kepa Arrizabalaga has already been cautioned for that reason, so he can't afford to take too many chances now. With 2 minutes plus stoppage time left of first leg in this semi-final that's become nerve-wracking for Arsenal after they twice established 2-goal leads.
Yeah, fantastic cup tie. This is what you want a semi-final to be like.
Chalobah. Martinelli. Jesus. Here's Gabriel. Now Kai Havertz. Saka. Marino. Saka has won a free kick. I think Neto, from some distance, has been shown a yellow card.
There's dissent, and there's too much of that in the Chelsea ranks. This is a foul and a painful challenge by Andre Santos. I saw that indiscipline at Fulham the other day, and Liam Senior's got to try and get hold of it.
It's one of the things Maresca was unable to get hold of, not helped by the fact he himself was shown a red card for over-celebrating their Liverpool victory. There are 5 added minutes. We've seen a previous free kick from range sent over by a player no longer on the pitch in Martin Odegaard. But there's another Martin, going to have more luck. Zubamendi on the score sheet already. Lays this one out to Saka. Played in by White, beyond Gabriel Jesus. And Sanchez tries to hit Arsenal when they've thrown many of their resources forward. Jesus battling to get in front of Trevor Chalobah, who sticks with determination to his task. Fernandez looking to pick out Estevao. Eased out of the way by Gabriel.
Yeah, showing in all his experience there, Gabriel.
Saka. Havertz wanted it played earlier. Now he gets it.
Well, they want the big hoof here, the Chelsea fans. They don't want this, with time ticking down.
Badiashile. Santos. Here's Neto. Positive charge by Pedro Neto. He was looking for Garnacho again. Saliba away. Now Bukayo Saka. Do to get it out of the defence at the moment for Arsenal, which is what White managed to do there. But it's a tense finale, this, for Mikel Arteta's team, who are top of the Premier League, top in Europe. They've started their journey in the FA Cup with a win, but the closest they are to silverware this season is this competition. Potentially, if they can hold on to this, just 2 matches away from lifting a trophy. And Chelsea are one of the teams who lifted the League Cup and the Premier League in the same season. They did it twice, 10 years apart, under Jose Mourinho.
There's clearly a gap in quality and class. Arsenal, a much better side. But Chelsea have done well to close the gap here. Battling performance by them, but for Arsenal, it's been impressive.
Gabriel. Here's Martinelli. And he manages to slide it through to Gabriel Jesus, who goes down. And he thought about it, but well, I thought he'd pointed to the spot, but in fact, it was offside anyway.
Got us going. I think it might have been a pen had it not been offside. This could have been the nail in the coffin. Yeah. Yeah, he takes him down, Hato. Don't think he gets the ball.
Nicely relieved man. Santos. Adebayo. Badiashile. Saliba losing out. Here goes Garnacho again. Esteval into the dangerous area. But from Nato's flick, it's held by Kepa Arrizabalaga. There's a bit of a spat after that involving Enzo Fernandez. It's come to nothing.
Well, every single one of these players have been well aware they've been in a game tonight. It's been rip-roaring stuff. And still plenty to play for back in North London.
There for the challenge on Andre Santos. Those Chelsea fans still have hope, but it might all come down to this if they're to go into the second leg in just under 3 weeks' time level. Sanchez kick. Advantage Arsenal going into the second leg, but it is a narrow one for Mikel Arteta's team. Twice they had a 2-goal advantage and were pegged back. Ben White gave them the lead with a rare goal, almost inevitably from a corner. And then they started the second half really brightly with Victor Gyökeres getting a goal that will surely boost his confidence to give them a 2-0 advantage. But a substitution by Liam Rosenior started to change things. Alejandro Garnacho pulled one back, and even after Martin Zubimendi had restored Arsenal's 2-goal advantage to make it 3-1, Garnacho struck again. There is a bit of a confrontation at the end. There was the aftermath of an off-the-ball coming together between Enzo Fernandez and Martin Zubimendi, which Fernandez clearly wants to carry on, and his new manager is playing peacemaker to try and keep him away from anything that might threaten his involvement in future games. For the most part, it was a game played in good spirit, and it was a really good game in which Chelsea from behind showed plenty of spirit and to keep the tie alive. But it has finished here at Stamford Bridge with Arsenal holding all the cards. Chelsea 2, Arsenal 3.